Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. My name is Ross Benjamin of RBWins.com, and I am joined by Jesse Shule of JesseShule.com and Sean Higgs. I had to throw that in there. Sean Higgs.
I say it's been a long time since you hit me with the Craig one in a while.
Yeah, picks and parlays next. So, in any event, it's Wednesday the 12th. We're going to be talking Major League Baseball today. Jesse's going to be covering the game between the Dodgers and the Giants. Sean will be looking at the Red Sox, Rays, and I'm going to be looking at the Royals and Rangers, all divisional battles. And we're going to be giving you our free pick and analysis on each one of those games. Those all go tonight. But before we get to that, let me go around the table here and say hello. Jesse, how are you?
I am doing pretty damn fine, Ross. Swept the board last night, broke out the yellow outfit, got the yellow wig on, perfect 3-0. So it doesn't get any better than that.
In the NBA?
I had one NBA, I had a Champions League soccer, and a baseball. So
very good. Very good. 3-0 sweep from Jesse Shule. He's now 1-0 in the NBA postseason, even though the NBA doesn't recognize this as being a playoffs and a play-in tournament. It is the postseason.
Yes, it is.
And Jesse, as we were well aware of, he gets off to good starts, not only when he gets up in the morning, but with all his sports selections in each individual sport. And the NBA is no different. Last year, 10-1 to start the playoffs?
9-1 with my first 10 last year.
9-1 with his first 10. So there you go, folks. A guy who's ahead of the game when it comes to beginning of seasons, postseasons, whatever the case may be. So keep an eye on that going forward, and we'll see how he fares in this NBA postseason. My money is on him, and I'm sure Sean's is too. But we're going to ask Sean how he's doing, because we know that's always a fluid situation, how he's doing.
So I had an NBA winner, a rare NBA play yesterday. It won on Minnesota plus the points there. So 19-21 plus $56 for the NBA season. And the positive. End it, baby. That's a winning year. Baseball, pretty good. I start out 6-1, and this is, we just talked about it off air about like different ways we go about things. And so my plays, I get down early. I do, whether it's NFL, college football, baseball, overnight lines. 6-1 right out of the gate. I like it. Boom. So yesterday I added in a couple games in the morning. I'm like, you know what? I kind of like this matchup here. I don't like this here. 0-3 in those games. Yeah. So my thing to you guys is, and this I say this a lot when I do look headlines on Sunday nights. What is changing my mind from Sunday to Sunday, right? Like, you like a team. You should just don't overthink yourselves, right? Just bet it, forget it, and stick with your guns, right? So I don't stick to my guns, and I take it. And it seems every time I do something like that, they always come up a loser. Like, it's a 1-2 day, it's 0-3, it's 0, whatever it is. It never seems to work out for me. Maybe it's just because we know all of our losers. Like, the winners, who cares? Yeah. We're supposed to win. We like the game to win anyway. So it shouldn't even register as like, what games you won? Well, I don't know. It won. That's how I think. Do you guys get that sometimes? Like
I think, Sean, that it's I think it's like a star player in basketball. A shooter's got to shoot. And if you're struggling with your shot, you just got to have the confidence to keep firing away. And confidence is an important thing in this business. I mean, when you're on your game, it feels like I just look down the schedule. I'll take that one and that one and that one. And I don't even really need to overthink anything. It's just coming to me. And then when you start struggling and you get on a losing streak, you could look at the board for an hour and a half, 2, 3, 4 hours and come up with nothing.
I'm like, so I'm having a winning season. We talked about yesterday. So I'm now 66-51 in baseball. So it's, it's not, I'm not Jesse and Ross 65% range, but for my volume, 55% is fabulous, and I'll take it.
72.
72. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to insult today. So like, it's, the morning I wake up, I'm like, okay, let me just double check, because I go over, look at all the lines again, right? After you gets in, you look to see how they're moving. Wait, you're on the right side, you're on the wrong side. Why is it moving? You got go over your stuff like, okay, what did I do wrong on that one if it's moving away from me? But even winning or losing, it's just, sometimes it's like I feel that, I don't know. I got to find the right word for it, but it's whenever I seem to add, no matter whether I'm on a hot streak or a cold streak, it just never seems to work out that way for me. I don't know. That's just my little rent of the day. Like, I'm just frustrated. Like, things are going well. You're winning. I take a 1-2. All right, I lost. 0-3. What the heck? This frustrates me. Like I'm, getting
I
greedy.
got another one for you, Sean. What about when you're sitting there watching like a Sunday night football game and you see the starting quarterback go down and you can tell his knee is going to be twisted and he's not playing next week, but you can get in and you can get that, you can get that team at +7 or whatever it is. And the line's going to move 7 points based on that quarterback injury. And you try to get cute and like sneak one in there. You ever get punished for that? Or do you do that? And have you had bad luck doing that?
No, well, one for that is it really worth it? Because you're not really getting down a lot on weeks ahead of time like that. You can't really get down earth-shattering money to make it worth your while. Now, if it's something during the week where you hear like, oh, this guy might not play, that's a different story. Now it's on a Monday and it's questionable, and your $150 you got down could now turn into a $2,000 bet or something. Hey, doors are open now. You've had a day to adjust these things, or a day and a half. The rumors are out there. Then you're just playing in the numbers game. Are you going to take a shot on it? Are you having a good season? Is it worth a play? But a lot of times with that is you don't for overnights. It's tough to get down a lot of money on overnight lines for baseball. Even football, the week ahead of time, they're not taking huge sums of money. I tell people all the time, like, is it worth it? It's hard enough just getting $300 bets down when you're winning in an account. When they're also, you're good for 74.85 today. What are you doing to me here? I mean, like, no, I that thing to me is I don't know. I believe in the gambling gods, bro. I try just to stay right in my little path. I'm not looking to strike me down. Like I wake up, today I had like bacon and eggs today, and I went 6. Tomorrow I'm having bacon. I'm doing the same thing. Like I just fall into that. I don't want them to come down on me hard, because I don't know. That's maybe a little superstitious. I can't do that. That would just be bad. That's just bad. You can't do that. That's just
interesting, because everybody has their own way of doing things, and as at the end of the day, if you're all successful, there's some credence to what you do. So, in terms of what you're saying, Sean. Yeah, I mean, we all think we develop patterns, and we try to correct patterns that are wrong. And in your regard, you're saying that you made 7 picks the night before. They went 6-1. You added 3 in the morning. You went 0-3 or 1-2, and that seems to be a constant for you in your mind, anyway.
Yes.
But, I would challenge you, instead of remembering that you went 6-1, making picks the night before, and then decided to do this the next day. Give yourself a larger sample size to come to a determination on whether that's an issue with you. That might not be a strength.
I just remember. You remember I just remember
Exactly.
losers as opposed to winners, right? That's just me. Yeah. It's people are like, well, how do you like it? Well, I don't mean winners I had, because if I'm betting it, I want it to win. I should be 10-0 every day, or 4-0, or whatever the case may be. I don't think the game's going to lose. Why the heck would I bet if I think it's going to lose? I don't remember the guys that win.
And the other thing is the common theme amongst handicappers that do this full time, and I'm not one of them, and I'm not cutting anybody down who is, because I'm working with 2 guys that really handicap this way or put their picks out this way. Is it seems like this industry, we're conditioned to, if you get in early, the longer the store's open, the more chances you have to sell. And there's some truth to that logic, but you have to have a proven record, like you guys do, of winning by doing that. I've found over the years, I don't do well with that. And some will say, well, you don't do well the other way too. Well, you could always pick out spots like right now where I'm in a little bit of a rough stretch, but here's my logic too. And Jesse, I'm glad you brought up that other topic about getting cute. And again, Jesse, I'm going to tell you how I think, and I've professed this many times. If we know about it and we have an inclination that may be the case, the odds makers do too. So to think that you're going to get one over on the odds makers and they're not seeing the same thing you do is probably not a good idea. So if that hasn't worked out for you in the past, for the most part, I would sort of banish that, but that's me. Secondly, I'm different. Okay. I look at the lines the night before. I'll write down 4 or 5 games that I think that I might be interested in, but I want the bettors to do some work for me. And the bottom line is you're looking not only at games you like, but you want favorable lines. And sometimes putting it in the night before, you're going to leave yourself open to a line move that doesn't make sense. Or you're going to say, geez, if I would have known it was going to move to this, I would have never made that pick last night. Why, in my estimate, in my feeling is that why even go there? Eliminate that, where you say, if I would have waited till the morning, I would have never made the pick I did last night. So that's just me. I do better with that. I also look at line movement, and I want to cross my T's and dot my I's. Now, has it cost me money over the years where I could have got much more in sales? Probably so. But I want to know, when I give out my picks, that I'm confident in what I'm giving out, and I'm not going to second guess myself. And I've found that when I get to second guessing, it's usually because I did it the night before and didn't wait until the morning. That's me. Okay. And again, you can't argue with success because you guys are doing well, but that's my philosophy.
I got a response, Ross.
Sure.
You talked about getting in early and taking the early lines, and then you run the risk of the lines moving the wrong way against you.
Yeah.
I personally feel, and I'm sure Sean feels the same way, because both of us have a similar philosophy in attacking early lines. And I think we both think that we can accurately predict which way those lines are going to move. Not 100% of the time, but at a very high percentage of the time. And not with every sport. Probably NBA. I don't know about Sean. I don't feel as comfortable predicting NBA lines, but college football and NFL lines, I feel like I can very accurately predict which way those lines are going to go. And if I bet those Sunday night for the next Sunday, every week there's going to be a game where you're going to get 2, 3, 4 points better on the line. And Sean gets 4 or 5 of those games every week. I'm happy to just get one, but and then I'll bring up what we brought up last night about the unders in the play-in games, and how the totals came out. They released these numbers, and then the sharp money just pounded it, and every number seemed to go down 4 or 5 points. And of course, both games went under last night, and I'd be sitting pretty happy if I had that 217.5 in that Raptors game today. It's now down to 213, by the way.
Yeah. Well, again, it's a philosophical difference, and based on what you're saying, Jesse, one cannot argue with you because you've done extremely well over the years. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's just a personal preference. It doesn't mean that I think both of you guys are wrong in your approach. That's the furthest thing from the truth. You have to know what your strengths are as a handicapper. Mm-hmm. You have to know what works for you. And what works for you guys might be different than what works for me. You know what I mean?
Well, I think what you're describing is it's not necessarily the antithesis either. You can get in on a few early games, wait until the public moves some lines, and then attack that angle after the fact as well.
Yeah, and I also look at the fact that I don't want to leave myself open to a 40-cent move on a money line of baseball, which happens not regularly, but it happens on occasions throughout the course of the week, and have whoever purchases from me stuck with a bad line. You were well ahead of the curve, but this guy's getting 40 cents more. He is not getting a favorable line. So there's a big difference between me putting in my personal bets and what I put out. Personal bets could be made the night before, and I could live with those. But the backlash you get when you give out and get accused of not giving out good lines, and you've dealt with that, Jesse. Yeah. I mean, I've discussed that with you, where customers have complained about that, and it's not like you're scamming them; you're just well ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
right.
I say it all the time. I'm like, the games are it's on the site. Here's a pick. Pick the game for the games are posted. What do you want? I'm sorry. I say, Jesse knows. I say this all the time in Midday Money. We don't wait till the guys on ESPN East Channel start giving their picks out of 3 minutes before kickoff. You're not getting a good line. No. You're waiting to that time. You've already lost any lick of value is
That's
gone.
good. If indeed you want to do that and you're good at doing that, that's for your own personal sake. You're not helping customers out with that. The days of the late phone service, the true late phone services, that would work, but those are non-existent these days. For the most part, you're still getting guys who call you on the phone, but they're not giving you pertinent late information. They're using the sports betting industry to as a vehicle to establish some revenue with you. So
I mean, we're three guys who go at it three different ways.
yeah,
No bones about it. And there's other people who go, hey, we're strictly NFL
Yeah.
player prop kind of guy. We're just
or
a total
a guy like El McMorty who's just a technical handicapper.
yeah. There's
And how
probably
could you
people who
argue
make
with
money.
his success. So you know what I mean? That it's a good conversation when we share these ideas with the subscribers because it gives them a broad scope. You know, we're not all the same cookies in the cookie jar.
And also, like you said, Ross, like getting down, like this is more for NFL and college football.
Yeah.
If you're winning more, you have money to bet out. You don't need that money on Sunday to bet on Monday afternoon. Like, people, but the way people want to have fun and same game parlays and all this other nonsense, first baskets, whatever. You know what? They'll never be long-term successful bettors because they're just out having fun. And if I win a little super,
Yeah. Well,
that's not how we think.
We can, well, no, because it's our livelihood. And I'm glad you brought that up too. And we'll get to the picks right after this is, my approach in football as compared to baseball, hockey, or any of the daily sports is much different. Obviously, in football, we're getting NFL lines up the Sunday night before the game, the week before. Sometimes
usually on Wednesdays they come out the week like 10 days ahead of time.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a larger window, which affords me, in my philosophy, the way I go about things, to put up picks a few days ahead of time, 2 to 3 days ahead of time, because I've witnessed a lot of the line movement. And at this point, I've seen enough to determine if there's value or not. Now in baseball, again, pitching changes, the NBA, I don't know how you're successful putting up picks the night before in the NBA with the player availability issues that we're not going to beat to death anymore. But any event, Jesse, any final thoughts? You look like you're wound up to say something.
I was just had it on the top of my head that I was going to say that Sean's clients definitely aren't getting cheated when he's putting out early NFL games, because he does look ahead lines on Sunday night and he tells everybody what they're going to be. And it's the same time every week. And if you tune in, you're going to get all those lines at the same time he puts them out or shortly thereafter when they're still available. So nobody's getting cheated. Is that correct, Sean?
Really? It's there. They're usually good and usually those lines stay up good till probably Monday afternoon. They start moving usually Tuesday, Wednesday. They start moving because everybody starts
by
coming
6
in.
a.m. Eastern on Monday morning. They're gone usually.
Yeah, sometimes a little later, but they're there. I don't understand.
The really good ones are usually gone by 6 a.m. Eastern on Monday, I'd say.
Yeah, well, that's because again, you get you have 1,000 people getting down a couple $100. It's going to move it a little bit. They're going to say, all right, that one's wrong. But like, Jess, on the games come out. I at least for me, so and so is playing somebody on Sunday. I'm already thinking next week, like this game's going to play out this way. So I already know what kind of number I want for the next week game or how it's going to play out. Like the Sunday night game, this team's going to lose or win. So I know next week I'm going against them or taking them. That's just years of betting and how I think games are going to play out.
You're playing chess and the average bettor's playing checkers.
Right. I mean, do you think that way? Like, I think, all right, I like the Saints on Monday night over Tampa Bay. People are thinking, Tampa Bay's going to win them. I'm already thinking on fading Tampa the next week or Saints off a Monday night win, a big win for a letdown the next week. That's the way I'm looking at those games, thinking they're going to move.
Yeah. Well, again, my difference of philosophy compared to Jesse and Sean's, I don't want that to be mistaken amongst the viewers and subscribers to think that I think they're wrong. That's the furthest thing from the truth. They found a niche. Jesse's found a niche. Sean's found a niche. Both of these guys have made valid points to their approach. And how could you argue with their success? Same thing here. Again, these guys by no stretch of the imagination, although they don't choose to do things the way I do, I don't think you'll ever get them to say publicly anyway that how I'm going about my business is wrong. So
I wouldn't say that privately. I wouldn't say it away. I mean, you've been doing
talk
it for
about
30
offending
years.
the
It makes
gambling
money.
god.
Yeah. So, I mean, so it's good conversations, folks. When we share our philosophies, there's a lot to be taken from that. And like I said, on this channel, it's a podcast, folks. This is not a free pick video. Yes, we give out free picks. Yes, we want to win those free picks. But at the end of the day, and I said this time and time again, and I'll continue to say it time and time again, the goal with this podcast is not only to put out free pick winners from some of the best in the country, but also to make you a smarter sports bettor today than you were yesterday, which takes me to this. If you have not subscribed yet and you're watching the show, it's absolutely free to do so. There's no strings attached. There's no subscription plans. After you subscribe, make sure you hit the alert button there, and you'll be alerted upon any of our Winner Circle podcasts going up on this channel, which is anywhere from 5 to 6 times a week. And again, don't forget to give us a like at the end of the video. Okay, guys, now that we got that great conversation completed, let's get to our free picks. Let's start with Sean, the Red Sox and the Rays. Tampa Bay right now is a 130 money line favorite, and the total in this game is 8.5. What do you got, my friend?
Yeah, that was a long half hour, so I could keep this kind of short because people are gonna be like, "What the heck's going on here?" I didn't come in for a conversation. We want a free pick today. It's a day baseball or afternoon baseball. So I got Taj Bradley. We got a pitching change here. It's supposed to be a different guy. We get the Rays #1 prospect, number I think 18 or 20 overall in Major League Baseball pipeline. And how about the Rays? 11 in a row, laying the 140 here, total 8.5 against Chris Sale. Now, he's had 2 rough starts. I mean, he had 3 innings, 7 runs versus the Orioles at home, and then 4 runs, I believe, or 3 runs in 5 innings against Detroit, which isn't all that great. You figure, come on, Detroit. The strikeouts are there for him. That being said, I just saw Andrew Heaney of the Rangers strike out like 10 straight guys. I mean, strikeouts now, that's not really a great stat.
No.
I believe it or not, I want to lean to the rookie here. I have a problem laying like 130, 140. I saw 140 at Will Hill. The run line is a 152. I'd rather go run line. I can't take a underdog and fade a team that's won 11 in a row. I know it's coming that time where they're not going to win 162 games. But I want to say maybe they're going to go to Toronto after the series. They play again tomorrow. At a point, you have to kind of take a decent dog, right? Against the Rays, they're going to be laying a big number. But I just can't here. I'm going to go run line 152. Boston can't hit. They're 5-6. Half of their lineup is hitting 216 or worse. I mean, Yohida's 216, Turner 205, Cassis 161, Hernandez 83, .83. He's their starting shortstop. Rich Schneider and Wong, 2 other guys hitting 158 and 120. These guys are the regulars in their lineup next to, Devers is really the only guy hitting out there. I mean, how are you betting on that team? When I got the Rays, I got 8 guys hitting over 300, and they're raking right now and winning. I'll go run line 152. I can't get in front of that train with the Rays. You can't do it.
Tampa Bay -1.5 plus 152 over the Boston Red Sox. And yeah, I mean, at some point, Tampa's going to be overvalued. I'm not sure it's in this spot because I don't consider Boston in the top echelon of American League teams anymore at this point. Anyway, you look at their 11-0 record, Jesse, and their wins have come off against Washington, Oakland, Detroit, and Boston. The first 3 probably are going to be in contention to lose 100 games this year apiece. And Boston, I don't see them. They may be a 90-loss team, 85-loss team somewhere. They're not going to win a division. So what's your thoughts on what Sean just said, Jesse?
I agree. You can't step in front of Tampa right now. I'm a little disappointed that Zach Eflin didn't get the start. I was planning on having Tampa today, and I didn't. I was a little too lazy to do the research and dig up this rookie, dig up the info on him, so I just passed on it. But it sounds like it's worth a shot as well.
Yeah, there you go. So Tampa Bay -1.5 at money line odds of plus 152 over the Boston Red Sox from Sean Higgs. Jesse, you're going to be looking at the Giants and the Dodgers. It'll be Clayton Kershaw and Alex Cobb on the mound for the Giants. 9:45 Eastern time start. Right now, Jesse, I got the Dodgers minus 170 and 7.5 is the total. And what do you got?
I'm looking at the total, Ross. Wind blowing out in San Francisco, which is pretty common. Wind was blowing out last night too, and it was a low-scoring game. The Dodgers got shut out, but there was a couple home runs hit by the Giants, and friendly conditions for hitters. You got Kershaw and Alex Cobb going. Kershaw obviously had himself a nice season last year. He's not quite the superstar he once was. He's still pretty good. He wasn't great against the Giants last year, though. What did he last year against the Giants? Kershaw gave up 10 runs in 18 innings. He was 0-1 with a 4.42 ERA. And Alex Cobb looks pretty good so far. He's 0-1 with a 2.53 ERA. However, the Dodgers lineup is batting .336 against him in 125 career at bats. So it looks like both these lineups have hit these pitchers. You got the weather conditions, and the over is 7-0 in the Dodgers' last 7 coming off of the loss. Low total. I'll take the over 7.5.
Okay, Dodgers Giants over 7.5. Can't disagree with that, Sean. I mean, you're looking at two teams that are very good at the long ball. For lack of a better phrase, is the Dodgers have hit 21 home runs in their first 12 games, while the Giants have hit 20 in their first 11. Although a lot of those Giants home runs come in bunches, it seems.
Yeah.
Because they have been shut out only once. Okay, so but in any event, these are two teams that could hit the long ball. And I got to agree with Jesse on this, especially at that low number 7.5. And especially with the fact that you look at these two bullpens too, and I'm so surprised to see these numbers, but the San Francisco bullpen, 5.55 ERA as a staff. You're looking at 4.69 for the Dodgers, and in their 6 road games at 6.51. So I think Jesse's on the right path there, Sean.
Yeah, I gotta say, I got the Dodgers run line today. I took them yesterday, and I'm like, I got to come right back on them today after a shutout. When teams for me coming off a shutout or bad losses in baseball, it's I look for them to bounce back. And Dodgers are a team I like the under. I don't really love their lineup this year. They inject a lot of newer players in. They still have Betts and Freeman and stuff, but they lost some pieces. I don't love Cobb. I'm just gonna go Dodgers to bounce back. It's silly, but it's. I'm not high on the Giants at all. For me, it's a run line play. I like the over because, listen, if I got a run line, I need runs from my team. So if I, get that over, I want a nice 6 spot for me. I'll feel comfortable about my run line with Kershaw. And again, that's why I sort of like. I know he gives up runs to this team, but I think the Dodgers hit enough for him that we get, hopefully we'll catch both of us. I want the run line. I think we're going to score some runs. And I know he gives up runs, but I still think they're going to get the job done. So run line for me, but I do like the over since I need the Dodgers to score.
There you go. So the Giants and the Dodgers over 7.5 from Jesse. Tampa Bay minus 1.5 plus 152 over the Boston Red Sox for Sean. And I'm going to go through my game real quickly here, folks, because we're pressed for time. The Royals and the Rangers. It'll be Brad Keller for the Royals. It'll be Nathan Eovaldi going for the Texas Rangers. Texas 4-0 to the over in their last 4. Eovaldi, 1 start versus Kansas City last year, 6 innings, 4 earned runs, 7 hits, 2 home runs, not very effective. Keller 2 versus Texas since 2021. And in those 2 starts, how about a 14.14 ERA and a 3.00 whip? Horrible. Texas has scored 8 runs or more this season in 5 of 11 games. They've hit 13 home runs in 8 home games. Both bullpens are Kansas City's bullpen, I should say, is very shaky with a 5.79 ERA and a 1.61 whip. The Texas Rangers 32-14 to the over. Versus opponents like Kansas City that get outscored by 0.5 or more runs per game. Conversely, Kansas City 27-11 to the over when they face opponents that are outscoring their opponents by 0.5 runs or more per game like Texas is. So I'm going to go Kansas City, Texas over the total of 9. You may be able to find an 8.5 out there. That would be an additional bonus, but we're going to go with Kansas City, Texas over 9. And again, LA Dodgers and San Francisco Giants over 7.5 from Jesse, and Tampa Bay plus 1.5 minus 1.5 plus 152 over the Boston Red Sox for Sean. Sorry we had to rush through the end of that, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed the conversation we had for the first 30 minutes, and hopefully you could take something away from that from a learning perspective and also use it going forward. In any event, for Sean Higgs, Jesse Shule, and Ross Benjamin, you can find Sean over at picksandparleys.net. You can find Jesse over at jesseshule.com. You can find me over at rossbenjaminsports.com or rbwins.com, whatever you prefer. So until the next time, folks, take care and God bless.